Now, I kind of wanted to give my opinion on the new Diablo 4. I mean, I can tell you. I mean, all you have to do is look at my channel, and you can tell really quick. My opinion on Blizzard. I mean, I've always loved their games. Diablo 2 is what I started on. I played Diablo 1 briefly, but I mean, Diablo 2 was my biggest experience. So I started playing that way back in the 90s. And then when Diablo 3 came out, it was okay. I mean, at first, but they didn't add anything to the game for the longest time. And I noticed, that to make something like Diablo 2 way back in the day, I mean, that was a massive game for its time. I mean, you had to have a killer system to run it. And then Diablo 3, there wasn't much to it. I mean, you could literally beat the game in 6 hours. And so, I was kind of disappointed. They never really came out with any decent DLCs. I mean, they came out with Reaper of Souls, but even that wasn't that much content. And then they never added to it after that. And then you run into, like in 07, when Diablo 3 first came out. I think it was 07, when I bought it for PC. You're telling me from 07 to what? Just this last month. It took you that long to come out with a Diablo 4. And I've noticed that with Blizzard, they will beat a horse to death before they will make another game. They will make sure that they have basically squeezed every penny they have before they come out with any content, any new games. They wait until the players have dropped off so much that they've almost given up. My point with Diablo 3 is 07 to a month ago. So you're telling me in 16 years, it took you 16 years to make a Diablo 4. That's pathetic. I mean, that's pathetic. And then you wonder why you're failing as a gaming platform. So, that being said, I'm hearing a lot of criticism about Diablo 4. I like it. It has its glitches, but very few compared to some other gaming companies. Rockstar being one of them. I mean, they're just known for, shit games. But Diablo 4 isn't bad, considering, the beta version wasn't out for that long. They didn't do a whole lot of testing. You have a completely open world game with every player on the platform. So, I mean, it was a big undertaking. So, of course, you're going to have some glitches, even though a beta was put out. My only main issue with Blizzard at this point was how they handle their customer service. Before I go through and evaluate the gameplay of Diablo 4 with you, I had a problem where my son could not log into his account. And it was because he accidentally mistyped something in his information, so that when he logged out after creating his account and playing for the first time, he couldn't log back in. And we contacted Blizzard and we told them about this, that we couldn't get into his account. We gave them his username, his character name, his email, and his password. Gave them all the information that they needed to look up why there was an issue. And literally after 3 days of not being able to play, we finally hear back. And it was almost like they were flexing. I get a message that says, "This is Game Master so-and-so, and you didn't go about this the right way. You were supposed to submit a ticket, and then by submitting a ticket, we can help you with your gaming issue in logging in. Well, there's one problem with that theory. If I could log in to his account, I wouldn't have contacted you in the first place. So to set up a system where you have to be able to log into your account to even create a ticket to get help. What if you can't get into your account? That's why I contacted them from my wife's account, was because we couldn't get into his. So the help that they gave us after 3 days of waiting was basically worthless. And at this point, I'm irate. Because, I've put up with enough. And I sent him back a message and I said, if I could log into his account, I wouldn't have contacted you in the first place. What do you think I told you my issue was? That's the whole reason why we're contacting you, is because we can't get into the account. So how do I make a ticket so that you will help me if I can't even get into the account to create the ticket in the first place? And then we look up on Google on whether or not they have a 1-800 number for these issues in case you can't get into your account. Oh, they used to, but they got tired of people calling in about recommendations for games and, what they called frivolous phone calls, that they shut off their phone service. So now you're stuck basically playing the game of sending messages back and forth. And you need to create a ticket. I can't create a ticket. Well, then we can't help you. And, jumping through hoops. And that's just ridiculous. Even Xbox has a 1-800 number in case you can't access your account. That is just, we don't feel like dealing with the public and with the people that have paid for our games. So we're going to hide behind messaging and help you at our leisure. After I bawled them out and basically told them that their ticket system was worthless to me and that they couldn't fix my problem that way, they finally got the point that, we kind of screwed up. They sent me the information I needed about his account and I fixed it myself. But it's pretty bad when I'm telling them how to do their job. And then, they wonder why Blizzard is having problems like it is. Now, I also find it funny that from 2007 to 2023, you can't make a Diablo 4. You don't have the capability or the time. But as soon as Xbox buys out Blizzard, they come out with a Diablo 4 within a year. A year of Xbox taking them over. Coincidence? No. Xbox was the one that pushed for a Diablo 4 because they realized if we're not making games, we're not going to make any money. People get tired of the same game after 16 years. This is common sense. Now, that all being said, other than those criticisms, the game is actually pretty decent. And I'm going to go through the gameplay, show you some of the glitches, and kind of, what I think of how they set it up. The one thing I don't agree with is like one of the biggest bitches and arguments on forums right now is that, they made it to where you can never win. And their argument is, okay, if you're level 1, the monsters are a level 3. If you're level 3, they're a level 6. If you're level 6, they're a level 8. And you're constantly fighting uphill. Well, that's the purpose of Diablo. That's how it's always been. That's how Diablo 1 was. That's how Diablo 2 is. And to make that point, in Diablo 2, I'm close to a level 80, okay? And in Diablo 2, that's like insane. I'm on like the hardest difficulty level, the 3rd difficulty level, where, I mean, some of the best gear in the game isn't going to save it. And I can get basically 2-shotted, and I have over 1 million HP. That's just how Diablo is set up. They always want it to be a challenge. So I don't understand that bitching argument that, well, you know, they made the game impossible and you can't enjoy the game because even if you're a level 100, you're still dying all the time. That's because they want it to be a challenge. They don't want it to be one of those games. Their reasoning is they want it to be a game to where no matter how high of a level you are, no matter how long you've been playing the game, it's still a challenge. And the reason why I agree with that is because I'm tired of buying games where you pay 60, 70, 80 bucks for a game. And literally in 2 days, you beat the game, and there's nothing more to do in it because you're as powerful as it's going to get. You've done all the game content. There's nothing more to do. So you paid 80 bucks for a game where unless you just want to do things over and start the game over from the beginning with a new character, you know, so that it's a challenge, you've basically used up all the game in 2 days. It's a waste of 60, 80 bucks. At least with Diablo 1, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, it's always a challenge. You're always up against a challenge. So that I agree with. I don't buy the rationality that, oh, you know, if I grind for 100 levels, it shouldn't be this difficult. Well, I'm sorry. So you're telling me that you want to buy, because I believe the packages were like 60 something, and then they had the 120, and then they had the like $200 package. And the $200 package is one I bought. If I blow 200 bucks on a game, I don't want to be out of a challenge after 2 days. I don't want to be done playing after 2 days. I want it to be a game that I can enjoy for a couple of years. And at least with Diablo 4, what they're doing is they're planning, at least what they tell us, is that they're planning on coming out with DLCs, and that was the reasoning for buying the bigger packages, is because if you bought the bigger packages, the more expensive deluxe packages, you would get those DLCs for free. If you buy the $69 version and you go cheap, you're going to pay for every DLC that comes out, which is stupid because I'm sure that the DLCs are going to be like 10, 20 bucks a piece. I mean, that's usually what game companies charge. So if they come out with, let's say, even just one DLC, now you're up to 80, 90 bucks. Why didn't you just get the deluxe package, and if anything is added to the game, you're covered. You get it for free. I don't understand that reason. The only way that you're going to lose money on the deal is if Blizzard completely screws everybody and says, well, we were planning on coming out with DLCs, but our plans changed. Then I could see people getting pissed off about buying a deluxe package, because that was the whole reason of buying that package, was to get that future content for free. So we'll just kind of have to see which way they go. So I'm going to end this video about my opinion of Diablo 4, and I'm going to go into gameplay with my mic and my cam so that you can kind of see, you know, what I think of the game. I've got a pretty high-end system, so I can dial up the settings for the graphics, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about when it comes to how little of glitches there are, considering this game was just released, compared to like Rockstar, where their games have been out for years and they're glitchy. So let me end this video and we'll go into some gameplay. Check out part 2.